The story of Queen Esther, a tale of courage and providence. Thank you for tuning in to witness a story of faith, courage, and divine providence. This is the Book of Esther. Our story begins in the capital city of Susa, within the vast Persian Empire, ruled by the powerful King Ahasuerus, often known as Xerxes I. In the third year of his reign, the king hosted a magnificent 6-month-long feast for all the nobles and officials of his 127 provinces. At the end of this great festival, while enjoying wine, the king commanded his beautiful queen, Vashti, to appear before him and his guests wearing her royal crown to display her beauty. Queen Vashti refused the king's command. This act of defiance enraged Ahasuerus and his advisors. They feared that Vashti's disobedience would inspire all the women of the empire to disrespect their husbands. Consequently, the king issued a royal decree. Queen Vashti was banished, and a search was ordered to find a new queen. Esther rises. Throughout the provinces, young, beautiful virgins were gathered at the citadel of Susa. Among them was a Jewish woman named Hadassah, known to us by her Persian name, Esther. Esther was an orphan, raised by her older cousin Mordecai, a devout Jew and an official who served at the king's gate. Mordecai instructed Esther to keep her Jewish identity a secret from everyone in the palace. After a year of preparation and royal beautification treatments, it was Esther's turn to be presented to King Ahasuerus. The king loved Esther more than all the other young women. On her head, he placed the royal crown, and she was made queen in place of Vashti. The threat of Haman. Sometime later, a man named Haman the Agagite rose to a position of great power in the kingdom. The king elevated him above all the other officials, and all the royal servants were commanded to bow down and pay him homage. However, Mordecai refused to bow to Haman. As a Jew, he would only bow before God. Haman was filled with fury when he saw this. He was not satisfied with punishing Mordecai alone. He learned of Mordecai's people and sought to destroy all the Jews throughout the kingdom of Ahasuerus. Haman convinced the king to issue a terrifying decree. On the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, all Jews, young and old, women and children, were to be killed and their property plundered. The decree was sealed with the king's signet ring and sent throughout all the provinces. Mordecai's plea. When Mordecai learned of the decree, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and cried out in the city. He sent word to Queen Esther, urging her to go to the king to beg for the life of her people.
What am I to do? If I enter the king's court without being summoned, I will be put to death.
You must do this for our people.
Esther sent back a fearful message. It was a law that anyone who approached the king without being summoned would be put to death, unless the king extended his golden scepter. She had not been summoned to the king in 30 days. Mordecai's response was solemn and powerful. Do not think that in the king's palace you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? If I perish, I perish. Mordecai's words moved Esther to action. She sent a reply. Go, gather all the Jews who are present in Susa and fast for me. Neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my young women also will fast as you do. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. After the 3 days of fasting, Queen Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace. When King Ahasuerus saw Queen Esther standing there, he was pleased, and he extended to her the golden scepter. Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. The king asked, "What is it, Queen Esther? What is your request? It shall be granted you, even up to half of my kingdom." Esther's request was simple. She asked the king and Haman to join her for a banquet on that day and again on the following day. Haman was overjoyed at the honor, Haman's downfall, and the king's favor. That night the king could not sleep. He commanded that the book of the Chronicles, the record of his reign, be read to him. The scribe read an account of how Mordecai had once uncovered a plot to assassinate the king, a deed for which Mordecai had never been rewarded. Just as the king asked what honor had been given to Mordecai, Haman arrived, intending to ask the king for permission to hang Mordecai on a gallows he had prepared. The king asked Haman, "What should be done for the man whom the king desires to honor?" Haman, thinking the king meant him, gave a grand reply. To Haman's horror, the king commanded him, "Do so to Mordecai the Jew." At the second banquet, the king once again asked Esther for her request. This time, Esther revealed her identity and bravely exposed Haman's wicked plot. "If I have found favor in your sight, O king," she pleaded, "let my life be granted me as my wish, and my people as my request. For we have been sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated." The king's anger was terrible. When he learned that Haman had even prepared a 50-cubit-high gallows for Mordecai, the king commanded that Haman himself be hanged on the gallows he built for Mordecai, Deliverance and Purim. Though Haman was dead, the original decree, sealed with the king's signet ring, could not be revoked. However, the king authorized Esther and Mordecai to write a new decree to counteract the first. This new decree granted the Jews in every city the right to assemble, defend themselves, and destroy those who would attack them. On the 13th day of the 12th month, the day their enemies had planned to destroy them, the Jews prevailed. Mordecai was given Haman's position, and he and Queen Esther established the Feast of Purim, named for the lots, or pur, that Haman cast to choose the day of destruction, to be celebrated every year as a lasting memorial to the Jewish people's deliverance. And so ends the remarkable story of Queen Esther, who through divine timing and immense courage saved her people. End with an encouraging and inviting tone. The Book of Esther is a powerful reminder that even when God is not explicitly named, His hand is at work, guiding events and protecting His people. What part of Esther's story stuck out to you the most? Did a moment of courage or providence particularly resonate? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more biblical stories brought to life. We'll see you in the next one.